Okay, so a lot of you have been asking me, who've been subscribed to me for a long time, what's going on with my build in my car. I've had this car for a long time, like 8 years or something now, and I used to do videos of it. You probably remember seeing the Pioneers in here flipping years ago. Every build I've had in this has pretty much been like a temporary build. Nothing has ever been finished to a standard that I'm happy with, even the stuff that I've shown on YouTube videos before. But I'm working towards a system in here at the moment that will become a standard that I am incredibly happy with, and that I'm happy taking to shows and having people see it. And this is what we have got so far. So this is being built by a guy over here in the UK from Harwood Acoustics. His name is Henry. I mention him all the time in my live streams and in my videos. I would love to get a video of him at some point talking through some stuff. His knowledge is absolutely unparalleled and he is fantastic at what he does. So what I've got going on in here is going to be an SQ based system. So I love my SPL, and the sub setup in the back will probably be loud enough to to do hair tricks and stuff at some point. But basically the car is going to be oriented around SQ predominantly. So for SQ front end, we have probably the only transmission line door cards that I'm aware of currently anywhere. There may be some in different places in the world that aren't photographed or videoed or pictured that I haven't seen, but as far as I'm aware, I've not come across any of these before. So the door card is kind of based around the original door card design, but most of what you see here has been completely custom fabricated, although it looks kind of almost factory in a way that the shapes are beautiful with what Henry's done here. The only original part of the door card is pretty much from this line upwards. So this here is the original door card that's been vinyl over, and then from here downwards, this is obviously original, but this downwards is all Henry's custom work. So I'll have a video of the transmission lines themselves, just bare, like not mounted to the door card, separately in a separate video, so you can see how they play in my room. And the T-line itself, obviously this is like the compression chamber. We have the throat here, and the line goes back here, curves round on itself and exits down here and fires into the footwell. So obviously we're missing the end plates for the line, and it's got a flare as well, which is going to flare the line out into the footwell. It's all going to be LEDs in there, look very, very nice. And of course we need to have this piece finalized and finished with a handle and some other bits and pieces. I've got a he's also included a angled piece here for me to put my phone on. So we're going to make he's going to make a kind of plate piece here that then attaches to a phone case or something, so I can slot my phone in here on the door, and then that's perfect position. We've done the angle correctly so that it looks perfect when we're driving. It's down by the side, so it's out of view of anyone that wants to look in, like police, for example. Having the phone up here is technically not allowed anymore in this country, so yeah, we have to have the phone really here is the only place it's allowed, but having it down here is out of sight. It's going to be fine. So this ring needs to be finished, and it's going to be finished in piano black. This is probably going to be a cream colour, similar to the colour of the A-pillars up here. And then I think we're going to have an accent colour for this middle piece, leather. We're going to have the Henry Harwood Acoustics logo there, and maybe a DD badge emblem there. That'll look very nice. All this kind of grey plastic pieces are going to be finished in the piano black, which is the same as what's on the A-pillars around here. Now, with the A-pillars, rather than having both of them firing at the driver's seat, they both fire to a middle point here in between the two seats. Now you might think that's a bit strange. Why would you have them firing to the middle point when you want the soundstage to be here? Well, interestingly, having them firing to the middle point, what you end up with is you have the driver's one where the driver is sitting slightly off axis to the tweeter. Now as you go off axis with a tweeter, the response tallies off like this. It tapers off. So if I was sitting in the middle, then I would have perfect response. I'll be directly on axis with the driver, directly on axis with the passenger. If I come into the driver's seat, then I'm quite far off axis with the driver, but I am still relatively on axis with my left hand side ear to the passenger. So although I'm sitting here, I'm closer to the driver's tweeter, but I'm off axis, so therefore I have slightly less response from the driver's tweeter. On this one it's further away from me, but I'm on axis, so therefore it kind of balances itself out, and we've done lots of tests and it's actually very balanced in both seats, because I didn't want the driver's seat just to be the sweet spot. I wanted the passenger seat, I wanted to be able to flip the time alignment around so that the passenger then experiences the same experience as the driver without having to get out and swap seats. So I can be driving, and also then the passenger gets the best experience as well. So this works out really, really well. And the same goes for the mids as well, being on axis and off axis, although less of a difference with the mid range. So the front stage is three-way, of course, the tweeter, AT28, the 3-inch AW3, and the AW6.5 in the T-line. Now these are all going to be run three-way active. They are currently being run three-way active, but not on the final amplifier that I'm going to use. The final amplifier is going to be a Genesis 8-channel, and this is one of the great big long surfboard Genesis SQ amplifiers. It includes two stereo Class A boards and two twin mono Class AB boards. So obviously the Class A's 2 channels will be running on the tweeters and the 3.5s for absolute optimum sound quality. And then for a bit more power, and obviously with the lower frequencies you don't quite need as much clarity as you do with the high stuff, but the Class AB boards are still beautiful sound quality. They just have a bit more power in them, being Class AB. They will run on the single 6.5, so I've got two twin monos, so it'll be one twin mono in bridge mode on one woofer, the other twin mono in bridge mode on the other woofer, so plenty of power for the 6.5s and the T-lines. They're very efficient as well, they don't need much power, so that'll be very loud indeed. And then that's the three-way pretty much sorted. Then I've just got sub-amplifiers for whatever I'm running in the back. The head unit is currently a trusty 9855R. I won't be using this in the final system. I just love this head unit and I've had it for a long time. And obviously, whilst we are building this setup, whilst it's all in its current kind of half-built stages where we're finishing things off, I still want to have some music in the car. So for the time being, probably what you're going to listen to today is just a very kind of rough, thrown together version of the final system. Obviously, the speakers are there and they're wired up, but they're not wired to the Genesis, and they are not. Nothing's been EQ'd. I've roughly time aligned it and things like that, and the gains aren't set like completely accurately with each other. I've literally just thrown this in to give myself a bit of music so I can drive around whilst we're finishing the build. So I will show you it. It still sounds absolutely beautiful and it still blows people away even now without having set up everything properly. So I can't wait to hear it when it's all done with the proper Genesis amplifier, time aligned properly, EQ'd properly with a SQ head unit and everything else. Also, we haven't sound deadened the car either. Nothing is sound deadened. So obviously having the T-lines on the doors, the woofers don't play into the door, so it's less of an issue. But with sharp mid-bass hits and kicks and like guitar strums and stuff like that, you can hear the metal kind of resonate a little bit after the note has finished, and that winds me up. So obviously for an SQ car, we're going to deaden the crap out of this thing. Absolutely, I've got crap loads of deadening. It's going to make it really, really heavy, the car, but it will deaden the inside completely, and it should change the sound entirely. I'm not going to run anything in the back doors. This is just leftover crap from whatever systems I had in here before. I'm not going to run anything in the back. I want to keep the soundstage all up the front. Having speakers in the back ruins your soundstage. I might put a couple of the new Digital Designs tiny little 2.75-inch E-Series and a T2 tweeter just in the back, just so on a separate switch, so that when I have passengers in the back, I've noticed that when you do sit in the back, it sounds really crappy because you're right next to the sub and you're miles away from the A-pillars. So what I might do, in fact, is run something on here just for mids and highs, so that on a separate switch, so when I do have passengers in the back, they can get a decent experience as well. And as you can see here in the back of the car, we've got picked up some amplifiers and a subwoofer here for repair. This is all stuff coming from the Amp Doctor UK. So this will be in Amp Repair live streams pretty shortly. We've got a piece of crap Lanzar Vibe, a Harphonics Brutus, and an Alpine PXI. So the A-pillars are in this really nice sort of cream vinyl leather effect, and the surrounds to the speakers, this kind of shiny gloss black surround, is actually MDF. It's actually a wood surround, and Henry has sat and sanded and polished and lacquered and sanded and lacquered and polished and got it up really nicely so that it is almost like a piano black effect. It looks beautiful. So this absolutely wonderful black gloss finish is going to be on all of the grey plastic parts here that surround the head unit, for example. So yeah, all of this grey plastic will turn to this wonderful gloss black, including like the surrounds to these dials here, around the gear knob, the door handles themselves here, they will be gloss black, as will the rings around the mid-range the mid-bass speakers. That will be the same gloss black as what's on here. Now this is very annoying on DD's part. As you can see, the A-series speakers go orange or copper coloured in the sun. The colour fades from the speaker. Now obviously in my driveway you can tell that one side of my car gets the sun and the other side doesn't. So we have one AW3 that's still nice and black, and the other one which is now this kind of copper faded colour. I'm in two minds. Some people actually, it doesn't make out very well on the camera, but the colour actually does look quite cool, and some people like it with the colour scheme that's going to go in the car. I kind of personally prefer the black, so I've already spoken to DD and they are happy to replace it because it is a defect. It should not do this. I've only had this in for, I mean, it went orange like this after a few weeks of having them, so it is not even like I've had them for a couple of years and it's done that. This was weeks after I had them, it went this colour, so not particularly impressed, I have to say. But, you know, it's one of those things. If they're going to replace it, that's fine. But, yeah, I have been tempted to actually swap them round. So put the black one on this side so that the black one turns copper as well, to see what they both look like. Some people do say they look quite cool like that, but I'm not entirely sold. Of course, naturally, you guys are going to want to see how this sounds in its current state. Now, obviously, I have no idea how on earth to record this to reproduce what I experience and what I can hear sitting here in the driver's seat, especially considering this is just a mono microphone on my Canon 60D, and it's not the best microphone by all means. It's just some pissy little thing in the side of the camera. I do have an RTA reference microphone, but again, it's mono, and so you don't get the stereo image, beautiful kind of soundstage that you get in real life, unless I had a twin RTA mic setup, which I don't have, and I haven't got two RTA mics yet. I've only got the one. So I thought, rather than trying to bother setting that up, I was just going to play it, and you can gauge for yourself what it might sound like in real life through this crappy mono microphone in my camera. Now I'm going to play CDs because CDs have much better quality than streaming over your phone or MP3 files, etc. But the only CDs I have are really old, really old, like now 45, like really old school music, because I don't buy CDs anymore. So the only CDs I have are very old indeed. Now I'm probably going to have to turn the microphone gain down on my camera, because if I don't, then it's going to clip the microphone and it's going to sound horrific. For example, I'm going to go up volume. So already it's starting to sound quite loud on the mic. So yeah, that's distorted to shit. So let's lower the gain on the microphone and see how that works. Okay, so okay, I'm having to really shout so you guys can actually pick up on the microphone. So the fact that I am shouting so loud right now and it can barely hear me on the microphone should give you some indication as to how loud this system is with only these 3 speakers on either side. So okay, let's go and press play now so you can hear what this sounds like. Let's try a different song.
Alright. Can you feel me? Come on. Feel me in. Let's talk about it. I was checking this girl next door when her parents went out. She phone say, hey boy, come on right around. So I knock at the door, he was standing with a bottle of red wine.
Honestly, in real life, it sounds absolutely beautiful. There's like amazing stereo imaging. There's stuff that's flying from side to side, like little twinkles and like hi-hats that going ding, ling, ling, ling all around, and the kind of guitar sound comes out and kind of goes whoosh like this. It's incredible. And like I say, nothing's EQ'd properly or time-aligned either, so there's lots to come from this. Now, obviously, you guys want to hear something a bit more modern. This is a bit of dubstep track, and it has a really broken kind of disjointed sound that sounds amazing in here in real life. I have no idea what it's going to sound like through this piece of crap microphone, but let's try it anyway and crank her up and see. And if I play Positive by Le Lion. Positive by Le Lion is a track that I play all the time when I'm checking out a woofer's transient response and accuracy and ability to play low and high frequencies. So with the T-Line door cards, I should be able to play all these bass frequencies with accuracy and good transients on point. Let's see. Yep, every single note is there, the high stuff, the low stuff, it sounds beautiful. One of the main things that I love about this setup is how well it plays rock music. I love listening to metal, believe it or not, as well. I pretty much started off as a bit of a metalhead back in the day when I was like 14 years old. I had long hair, I had ripped baggy jeans, DC skate shoes. I was a bit of a rocker, and so I still enjoy a lot of the music today, but barely any car audio systems that I sit in can reproduce rock music properly, because there's a huge gap between like the sort of 50 hertz where the subwoofer can play under and like sort of 200 hertz where the door speakers sound good playing. There's a whole mid-bass range that's missing that you don't get and that you need for rock music to sound good. Well, with these T-Lines, I can fill in that gap beautifully. So let's try a bit of rock and see how that sounds. Sounds amazing! I honestly don't expect that to sound anything half decent through the camera, but fuck me, it sounds amazing in here!
Shoes, my toes are busted. My kitchen says my bread is molded. I got a good job at the dollar store. 1 foot.
Right, there we go. I put the mic back to its normal level now, so I've not got to shout anymore. It's starting to hurt my throat. But hopefully, I mean, I haven't watched this footage back yet, but I have no idea what it sounds like or anything, but hopefully it gives you some idea as to how loud it already sounds. The amplifiers which I'm currently using just for temporary system bass is, I've got an Alpine V12 4-channel on the tweeters and the 3.5s. So just really, it's a really nice old amplifier. The Alpine V12 stuff, some of the higher end V12 stuff was beautiful amplifiers. It's a really nice Class AB, but it's by no means powerful. But already, even at 4 ohms per channel, we can see that it's loud as fuck. So I can't wait to get the Genesis Class A on there. And on the 6.5s, I've got an LW Audio prototype, which is basically an Ampere audio. It's a 600 times 2. No, sorry, what is it? 200 times 4 channel. So on channels 1 and 2, I've got the 6.5s. They're not getting enough power that they need, but they still sound great. And on channels 3 and 4 bridged, I've just got a single Sony X-Plod in the back. And the Sony X-Plod is crossed over so low, it's barely doing anything really, only the super low notes, like anything under sort of 35. The T-Lines are tuned to 53 Hz and they play down to sort of 45 quite nicely, and so the sub just rolls into where these drop off, but these are playing pretty much 45 and above. And most commercial music and drum and bass and stuff like that, most of the bass frequencies that hit you in the chest, that kick you, are coming from the doors, and it's only the sort of low sub-end bass notes that come from the sub, and it's not turned up that much, and it's on a 4-channel amplifier, so it's not that loud either. But it sounds beautifully balanced. I'm very, very happy with how this setup is currently sounding and cannot wait to get it finished. And I'm just going to end this video with a bit of music that I love to listen to. A lot of you guys ask, what stuff do I listen to? I listen to a whole range of stuff, but some of my favourite stuff at the moment is like drum and bass, mutated forms, for example. So I'm going to turn my microphone gain right down again, so you guys can actually hear what the hell this sounds like without me distorting the crap out of the microphone. Oh, here we go. How do I change the gain on here? Okay, and exit this mode. There we go. So I've turned the gain down. so you can actually hear the music and not just distorted sounds. So here we go. And this track is called Crowlin' by Mutated Forms. CROWLIN. There we go. Peace out.